complained about terrible neck pain, throbbing headaches, and reoccurring dizzy spells. The doctor carefully examined him, sent him off to an MRI, and after he got the results, he said, "I'm sorry. I have bad news for you. The diagnosis isn't good. But from what I can tell from all the tests, you have an unspecified brain tumor causing your problems. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. It seems you only have a few months to live." The doomed man left the doctor's office shaken, crushed. But he vowed that he would live life to the fullest with all the time that he had. So he went out and quit his job, cashed in his IRA and all his accounts, bought a new sports car, some fancy new suits. He went to an exclusive men's shop to buy the best quality tailored shirts that he could find. He entered the shop and the tailor started measuring. He took down the man's neck size, and the diamond noticed that he wrote down size 16 neck. "Wait a minute," the man said. "I don't wear a size 16. I've always wore size 14. And that's what I want now." The tailor said, "But if you wear size 14, you're apt to experience terrible neck pains, throbbing headaches, and reoccurring dizzy spells." Without knowing it, the tailor had unmasked the man's real problem. That's the title for the sermon tonight. Real solutions to real problems. In some ways, the last chapter of the Gospel of John presents us with a problem. It kind of strikes me a little strange. It's almost like John has concluded his Gospel the chapter before. You may have remembered at the end of chapter 20, John writes that his Gospel has been written to show the signs and wonders that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and that believing we may have life in his name. And in reading those words, it seems clear that John lays aside his pen, closes up the book, and says, "Amen." But suddenly John remembers more. He realizes that the story isn't finished quite yet. So again, he takes up his pen and writes this final chapter, chapter 21. It's if he remembers some final details, some loose ends that need tying up, some problems without clear solutions. So, he writes chapter 21. He begins with Peter and 6 of the disciples. Remember, John has already told us the story of Jesus' resurrection. He's already shared with his reader the appearances of Jesus to Mary and to Peter and the disciples and Thomas. But there's more. The appearance of Jesus is to Peter and these other disciples. But this time it's not in Jerusalem, it's not in Bethany, it's not some place that Jesus has already been, but he is back where the disciples find most comfort. Back fishing. And in doing that, it seems as if John wants to remind us of something that we might have overlooked. It's probably a story that many of us could relate to.